Hi, I'm Clovis Colley with Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis Center. I'd like to talk to you about hypnosis and all the different things that we can do with hypnosis. But first of all, I would like to dispel any myths that people may have about hypnosis, any misconceptions. First of all, everybody can be hypnotized. Everybody goes in and out of hypnosis on a daily basis. You go through the hypnopompic and hypnagogic states when you're falling asleep and you're waking up. They're the in-between states. So that's at least 2 times that you're in hypnosis. Hypnosis is 7 to 14 brainwave cycles per second. Sleep, from deep sleep to light sleep, is 1 to 6 cycles per second. And normal waking consciousness is 15 to 30 cycles per second. 30 being a very frenzied state, and most people walk around in about a 20 to 22 cycle per second range in normal waking consciousness. Now, through the use of language and some different techniques, when we put you in the state that's commonly referred to as hypnosis, we use language and different relaxation techniques to get you there. Now, people normally go in and out of these states all the time. They'll get very focused reading a good book. They'll get into a movie so much it's almost as if they're living in the movie. They're losing track of time, their sense of time is turned off, and basically their sense of reality is altered, and they're very deeply in the movie, the book, whatever activity, hobby that they're doing. Those are also all forms of hypnosis. Hypnosis is nothing special. It's not a magical state that people are transferred into by some wizard or anything like that. Hypnosis is something that is a combination of focusing and learning at the same time. In the 7 to 14 brainwave cycle per second state, you're able to learn faster, recall information better, use your intuition, have much more creativity, and basically access your inner genius that you're unable to access to in a much higher or possibly frenzied state. When we get you into hypnosis, we can give you suggestions about losing weight, stopping smoking, alleviating habits, or enhancing things that you're already good at. What happens is the logical mind becomes inhibited, temporarily suspended, and we're able to put suggestions straight into the more creative side of your brain, the left side of your brain. When we do that, we bring you out of hypnosis. It's almost as if you have these new habits without having to take 21 days to develop them. And that's the point of hypnosis, is to create rapid and powerful change, not to take 30 days or 60 days of constant effort, struggle to build in new and useful habits. We go into this meditative state. You change the way that you think about food, the way that you think about cigarettes, and any habits that you want to change or enhance. When we do that really powerfully, people can walk away from the cigarettes, and I have it happen quite often at Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis Center, that people are able to sit those cigarettes down and be done with them forever, with little to no cravings, without having to eat everything in sight, because we take care of the reasons that they're uncomfortable, the drivers that cause people to smoke. Now, quitting smoking is not a logical thing. If it was a logical thing, there wouldn't be very many smokers. They'd go, this is harming me, I'm done with this, we're done for good. Now, if your unconscious mind associates pleasure to smoking cigarettes, you will not quit smoking. If your unconscious mind wants you to smoke, and if you're a smoker, you know this, you'll get strange different cravings in your body, sensations in your throat, your chest. A non-smoker will say, well, I know how you quit smoking, you just quit putting them to your lips. Well, quite frankly, if it was that easy, people would just stop doing it. I have people that come into my clinic that are dying because of smoking cigarettes and cannot quit through the use of logic. Well, luckily, this is where hypnosis shines, and people are able to reprogram their unconscious mind, divorce the feeling of pleasure from smoking, get into reality with it, and come to realize that smoking is actually killing them, not enhancing their life in any way. Now, it's kind of odd. The unconscious mind is like a 12-year-old child. It'll make an assumption. First time you smoke, maybe it's with your friends and you receive approval. As time goes on, as a year or two goes on, maybe you're getting some relief from anxiety from it. Your unconscious starts to over-associate pleasure with cigarettes, when in all reality, smoking cigarettes is very hard to do. And for most people, when they recall smoking their first cigarette, it burnt their throat, it made their eyes burn, made their clothes stink, they were throwing up, gagging, and they had to go to a lot of work, maybe over a month or two, to start to get used to smoking cigarettes. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. Cigarettes are very poisonous and very hard on your body. It takes a little training to get used to them. It's a full-blown illusion that cigarettes do anything for you. People say it relaxes them. But how can something that vasoconstricts your veins and make your heart beat harder cause you to relax? It can't. It's only an illusion. If you've ever seen anybody out smoking a cigarette, they hardly look relaxed. They look like they're in a frenzied state. Usually, what I call a nervous smoker, they're puffing away at the cigarette. Sometimes they forget that they have a cigarette in one hand and light another cigarette. They're so nervous. And the cigarettes may not even be doing the job that they once did, quelling that anxiety. The way that I see things in the model that I operate from, and in my experience, there are two types of smokers. There's a type of smoker that maybe just associated pleasure with it, started smoking in high school or something like that, went out and started drinking with their friends, and it was just something that became associated with socializing and having a good time and maybe having a few beers with their friends or something of that along those lines. There's the second type of smoker. Maybe the smoker that experienced maybe a little bit more traumatic childhood. Maybe their parents fought a lot. Maybe there was some rough stuff. Maybe they got bullied a lot while they were in school. Just anything that maybe that caused a lot of anxiety growing up. Now, what we know is if somebody experiences childhood abuse, they are 4,600 times more likely to become intravenous drug users, to use alcohol, to smoke cigarettes, to use drugs, all those things. And that's just an unbelievable figure to me. But I find that when people come in and they have a high level of anxiety, that if I show them some exercises to turn that anxiety down, show them some exercises how to relax and permanently get their anxiety level down, that their chances of quitting smoking are much greater. Now, if I leave that there, and I've learned this through time and experience, and they remain anxious, but I get them off the cigarettes, they may stay off the cigarettes, but they're a little bit on the miserable side. So the thing to do is to teach relaxation and do the hypnosis to quit smoking and give some coaching techniques so that they feel good over time. Now, me being an ex-2-pack-a-day smoker, now I've done hypnosis for a long time, but up until a few years ago, I smoked pretty heavily. And on my mind, it was very, I felt very incongruent about helping people quit smoking while I was smoking. So I sought out a hypnotist to help me quit smoking. It absolutely took my cravings from a 10 down to a 1. And later in my life, towards the end of my smoking habit, when I tried to quit smoking on my own, and I desperately wanted to quit smoking, I really wanted it out of my life, I would actually get very angry and very edgy. And I never knew what that meant until the very end when I quit, about smokers being that on edge when they quit smoking cigarettes. But I discovered later on. And by the time I quit smoking, I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Absolutely horrified, wondering when I was going to get lung cancer, when they were going to have to maybe cut some part of my throat out or do some really drastic surgery on me. It was absolutely horrifying, but even I couldn't quit facing those facts. So I know what it's like. I think I'm one of the few hypnotists that actually had been a smoker, had experienced getting off cigarettes through the use of hypnosis. I think that gives me a great advantage over other people. I know what it's like to crave cigarettes. So when you come into my clinic, my number one goal is to dramatically decrease the cravings so that you can be comfortable. Now, I'm not always able to totally get rid of the cravings, but I am often able to get them turned down from a 10 down to a 1 or 2. Now, I think most of you know that smoke, that if I can get that down to a 1 or 2, your chances are going to be pretty good. I'm going to give you suggestions that make it easier for you to make it through the cravings. I'm going to make the cravings mean something different. Now, there's a couple other things that I do that actually very powerfully leverage your ability to control your own behavior in this arena. And of course, in this arena, up until now, you have been totally unable to control your own behavior, or else you wouldn't be looking at this video now. The two things that I do that I think make me very distinct from other hypnotists in my local area is, number one, I'm going to adjust your identity level to that of a non-smoker, and I'm going to retrain your value system to make health your number one value. Okay, and so what I mean by this is if somebody makes their family their number one value, they do everything in support of their family. If they make money their number one value, well, usually they don't do all that well with money. And second, they're always chasing the almighty dollar. Now, if you really care about your family, and for most people, family and friends is the number one value, the relationships with other people, and things come second. Most other things come second, the material goods and maybe having fun and all that secondary to their family. Well, if health is not your number one value, you can't do anything for your family. You can't make money. You can't have fun. There are so many different things you can't do without your health. As a matter of fact, they take away from the other things. Health has to be your number one value. But what's very important about this, and I want to use this analogy, most of the time when women become pregnant, their value is that baby. Their number one value is taking care of that baby, that unborn baby inside their stomach that's just starting to grow. Now, if they're smokers, most of the time women will immediately set down the cigarettes because they're not going to make their baby smoke cigarettes. They're just not going to do it. And you'll often notice even women that smoke very heavily, when they become pregnant, they're done smoking. They don't complain about it. They don't have cravings. They don't go on and on. They just set the cigarettes down and they're done. Now, oftentimes after the baby's born, they're down there pushing the IV rack out in front of the hospital and chain smoking right after the baby's born. But that is how important values, how much leverage they have on your behaviors. So the hierarchy is spiritual identity, values, beliefs, behaviors, and environment. So I don't try to pick off every one of your behaviors: smoking in the car, smoking with coffee, smoking while at the bar, smoking while at work, smoking after lunch. I don't need to pick those things off by one. When I leverage your value system, you'll find that in addition to quitting smoking, you might find yourself eating better foods. You might be exercising a little bit more. You might find yourself drinking plenty of nice, clean, fresh filtered water, things that are healthy. You'll see yourself as a healthy person. Now, I've done this with people and not even mentioned their weight. They've quit smoking, and then I see them 4, 5, 6 months later, and they've lost 40 or 50 pounds, and they're muscular, and they're in good shape, and they've been working out. This is a really a much better way to create a seamless change in another human being, is to leverage the identity and the values. I believe that I'm unique in this, at least in my local area. Now, also, I take these changes and I extend them out through time. And it's in your imagination, but the way that I set it up, you'll keep doing these things, these new and useful behaviors over a period of time because of the way that I suggest things while you're in hypnosis. Now, if I do my job as a hypnotist, the things that I suggest to you, you're really going to take and use in a very useful way that supports you in whatever behavioral change that you want to make. Now, along with getting rid of the cigarettes, another big thing that we do in my clinic is we do weight loss programs. Now, most people know that when you try to lose weight, the weight comes up, the weight goes down, down, up, very hard, very miserable. You're fighting yourself on wanting to eat certain foods. But again, through the use of hypnosis, through the use of changing your perception of the world, through the use of giving you suggestions that you're going to feel full sooner, that you're only going to eat when you're hungry, that you're going to set your fork down in between bites, and a lot of other things we do to support the weight loss. It becomes a much more seamless change, and you find yourself doing the things that support your weight loss much easier. You'll find the foods that you desire that are putting the weight on you. You lose interest in those things. When you're not fighting yourself on a diet, it's much easier to sustain over long, long periods of time because it's the way that you like to eat. It's the way that you want to eat. Through the use of hypnosis, I help you like the foods much better that support your weight loss. Now, and what I suggest when I do the program with weight loss is that you only do it to 80 or 90% anyway. I don't suggest that people never ever have a piece of cake. Have a piece of cake once in a while. You're going to be doing so many good things for yourself, drinking plenty of good, clean, filtered water, taking walks, parking the car a little bit farther away from the store, using the stairs, different things like that. So your metabolism is going to be bumped up all the time. Now, and might be a little hard for some people to grasp, but if you study hypnosis in the way that I have, you'll find out that through suggestion and through a good hypnotic state that you can suggest to people that they'll blush, that they'll get goosebumps, that their fingers will twitch, that different things will happen, and those kind of things can happen through suggestion. It's a well-known fact and a well-documented fact that and some stage show hypnotists do this. They'll put a needle through the back of the hand. They'll suggest one hole to bleed and the other hole to stop bleeding. Wipe off the hand and that hole will stop bleeding. The other side will keep bleeding. Wipe it off and trade it. Now this hole stops bleeding, the other one starts bleeding. That's been documented for hundreds of years. And by the way, hypnosis has been studied more than any other thing on the face of the planet. Now, I talk to some professionals and they say, well, hypnosis should be studied. Well, they just haven't looked because there's just stacks and mountains of research supporting that hypnosis works very, very incredibly well. Now, some of the research they do, they try to hypnotize people with 8-track tapes with some monotone voice, and they find out that that hypnosis is ineffective in that case. So they conclude that hypnosis is ineffective. Well, I believe that I can do better than an 8-track tape. I believe that hypnosis is a human-to-human interaction, and that by watching you and talking to you, adjusting the way that I'm doing hypnosis to allow you to relax more, go into hypnosis deeper, that we're going to get much better result than putting in an 8-track tape or a CD or anything like that. You want, when you're coming to a clinic to quit smoking, a hypnosis clinic, what you want is you want human interaction. You don't want a CD. You can go to the store and buy a CD to quit smoking. I don't think that that'll work all that well, and I don't think that people find much success with that. Well, take another sidetrack as I'm saying that, and what I would say to that is when you come in to quit smoking, lose weight, change behaviors, enhance behaviors, it's customized for you and what you want to do, what you need. The words that you tell me are really important because I can use my words while you're in hypnosis, and you may not like my words as well. I ask you what your words are for success, how you would describe your success, and while you're in hypnosis, I use your words. They're much more readily accepted by your unconscious mind. And when you go out there to play soccer, when you go out there to hit a baseball, when you go out there to play golf or play pool, you'll find that those words that you're using are maybe ringing in the back of your mind. And if you say, I feel relaxed and confident, and those are the words that I feed back to you while you're in hypnosis, you'll get on the field, golf course, whatever, and you'll be hearing those words in the back of your mind. I feel relaxed. I feel confident. That's why I use your words and not my words. Now, in addition to the hypnosis, I have several waking techniques that are absolutely powerful in designing in new behavior. And what we're going for a one-trial learning. We're not going for a 21-day repetition to drop the behavior unconscious. And what I mean by that, when you first start driving a car, you're a little heavy on the gas, slam on the brake, jerk the wheel, so on and so forth until you do it for a few weeks, and then it starts to drop unconscious. It starts to become much easier. You know just how much to let out on that clutch while it's in first gear, how much to let off the brake. And all those are very complicated processes, but after a while, they drop down into your unconscious mind, and they become motor programs, little individualized programs that you use to drive an automobile easily. Now, after having done it, several of us, for a lot of years, now you can drive your car, eat McDonald's, put makeup on, talk on your cell phone, text, and get something out of your glove box all at the same time. That takes a little bit of skill. So when we do hypnosis, we're bypassing that 21-day habit, and we're going directly to the behavior. Now, you have many, many resources in your mind to draw upon. You have many talents. Now, if you already know balance from roller skating, when you go to learn how to ski, you don't have to relearn balance. You can start skiing much faster if you don't put that limitation on yourself that you have to start from scratch. In hypnosis, you can learn things much faster. You can do it by visualizing what you need to do. Now, when I use words in hypnosis, that's a little bit slow, but when you can go into hypnosis and see images of you behaving the way that you want to behave, you can do things in a much faster way. I have ways to cue those behaviors in, where a look from a person may send you into a certain state where you go through several pieces of behavior almost automatically and seamless to you. We can use that cue to have you respond in a totally different way. Maybe it's somebody that sets you off. Well, we can cue in this new behavior where you're calm, cool, relaxed, very sage-like, very peaceful, and respond with some balance and some creativity. We can cue these pieces of behavior. Whatever you can imagine, whatever reaction that you can imagine that you would have, we can cue that in anywhere in on your timeline. Now, it's possible to design in really, really elegant pieces of behavior. It is also possible to break really, really unuseful pieces of behavior. Now, there are things that in neurolinguistic programming, which is one study that I do called synesthesias, and they're not the standard scientific definition of the word, but they are things like a lot of people have experienced a bad breakup, and they'll unconsciously have this image in their mind of the old boyfriend, girlfriend off with their new person, and they'll feel devastated by it. They'll feel a heaviness in their chest, maybe a groaning in their mind, things like that. They're called synesthesias. They're an overlap of the images in your mind, feelings in your body, sounds that you're making. Now, when people go into synesthesias, they go in very quickly, and it's a very unconscious piece of behavior. Those are the things that if you can break those, with my help, if I can help you break those, you can get some real freedom in your behavior. Now, a lot of times people have 4 or 5 of those things that they loop on automatically, cued from the outside, and they'll feel a bit out of control because they have all these different pieces of behavior going on automatically and unconsciously. Now, through the use of neurolinguistic programming, through the use of training your mind to move these pictures around, and redesigning the feelings, and I don't mean emotional feelings, but I mean your proprioceptive feelings in your body, the sounds that you make, we can rearrange those synesthesias, break them, create powerful synesthesias. Now, people that do exceptionally well in this world have 4 or 5 synesthesias that feel good, that work good, that serve them in doing what they want to do. They buzz through life making lots of money and doing lots of really cool things, and they feel great all the time, and they loop on good feelings. It's the content. Now, I don't believe that very many human beings are broken. I believe that people learn useless pieces of behavior very well and do them with precision. Now, if you can unlearn pieces of behavior that have been hindering you, that have been hurting you, and replace them with pieces of behavior that serve you feeling good, that serve you doing the things and achieving the things that you want to in life, having fun, making money, having good relationships with other people, if I can help you design those things in, wouldn't you have a much better life? Well, I do that with people. I've been very good at helping people make lots more money, have lots more fun, have many more good feelings just in daily life, free up their behavior, allow them to step in and really get some power and choice in the things that they want to do, think, and feel. They start having a lot more fun in life. And here's another thing. When you're running 4 or 5 pieces of behavior mindlessly that don't feel good, people like to get smashed a lot. They like to drink beer. They like to smoke cigarettes. They like to smoke pot or whatever they can do to escape from that. And in my observation, doing hypnosis for a very, very long time, if people feel good, they don't have to constantly stuff their feelings with food and chewing tobacco, cigarettes, booze, this, that, the other thing. Feeling good and having good emotions allows you to do good things. And when you feel good, you make good decisions. Now, what we found out and what works exceptionally well is the fact that your brain likes to learn much better quickly than it does slowly. So when I can introduce these new pieces of behavior into your mind, cue them in quickly, and build in new chains of behavior. It's just like when you put your hand on a hot stove. That's the last time you ever have to do that to know that it's going to burn your hand. Now, even if you're looking away from the burner and you start to get your hand near that hot burner on accident, you're going to feel the warmth of that before you even get your hand there and recoil immediately. Your unconscious mind will take over and cause you to move that hand out of the way. Now, there's many, many different things we can do with hypnosis. It's only limited to your imagination. Call me at Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis, and I can show you some of the really, really cool things we can do. In addition to getting you off the cigarettes, let's do some generative change. Let's help you do things that you're already doing well and make them even better. Call me at Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis Center, 402-393-0544. Thanks for tuning in.